So the Browns did not have a first-round pick in the 2024 draft. And this was the rookie class that Andrew Berry and company came away with from last season's NFL draft. They took Mike Hall with the 54th pick, Zach Zinter at 85, Jamari Thrash at 156, Nathaniel Watson in the 6th round at 206, Miles Harden and Jawan Briggs in the 7th round. And over the weekend, NFL.com came out with its rookie class rankings, ranking all 32 NFL rookie classes, and as you can see,
I'm sorry.
How's that not an F?
Number 30.
I'm
they
sorry.
gave no Fs.
You know what's
They're
funny
the
to
only
me?
team with a D minus.
I'm sorry.
What's funny to me about that is the other teams picked so late in the draft that they didn't have a chance to make a splash with the first-round pick either. The Bills, the Chiefs, the teams that are winning, making playoff runs. The Browns made the playoffs, didn't have a first-round draft pick, but we almost had the second instance of someone throwing up on this show when you put up the Browns' 24 draft class. Bull got sick on opening day a couple of years ago. I almost got sick when I look at that group. That is unbelievable. And I know it's 1 year, and some of those guys might turn it around. Mike Hall was easily the best player.
Yeah.
He was unavailable for the first part of the season because of an arrest or charges.
Then he got injured the last game of the season.
Yeah, a bad injury. But everything else, you look at that and you're like, oh my God,
Now,
how is Andrew Berry still here?
In fairness, a lot of the mid to late round picks take time to develop. A lot of them, some of them hit right away. Some of them you find a surprise in the 4th and 5th round, and they're impact players.
Puka Nacua.
Yep, but a lot of them are developmental guys. The part that's disappointing is Mike Hall and Zach Zinter. Those two, you would think, were going to be impact guys earlier than later.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about Mike Hall had a lot of legal issues, and then he got hurt. Zinter was an absolute disaster last year.
He was coming, in fairness to Zinter, he was coming off a terrible injury.
He was, but he had a ton of experience at Michigan, and he was expected to be, I think they expected him to be a starter in year 2.
Yeah.
At one of those guard spots, and that just didn't happen. Now, also, the Browns had dreadful offensive line coaching to the point where they fired the offensive line coach the day after the season, and Mike Vrabel became the pseudo offensive line coach during the season. Maybe new coaching will put Zinter on a path trajectory back up.
Right.
But those are the two picks that I think you expected to have some sort of immediate impact that they didn't get. The rest of the guys, a lot of them could be looked at as developmental. You're not going to get much out of them in year 1, and hopefully you would get more out of them in year 2 and going forward. So maybe there'll be a surprise there that we just haven't paid a lot of attention to, who will then get opportunities in the future. But those two guys particularly, that's a disappointing spot at this point.
It don't even look like Zinter could play.
No.
It don't even look like, he was getting drop kicked. He was getting punched in the face.
And also,
are you worried though? Or maybe I am cutting him slack because of the injury he was coming off.
And also,
it takes a year. We've talked about this, G.
Go back and look at the schedule. Look at when Wyatt got hurt and when Zinter got thrown in. He got thrown in against some beast defensive tackles in the NFC East.
Yeah.
He got thrown right into the fire.
I'm not giving up on him.
And I'm not saying give up on him, but it was a really, really disappointing rookie year for the expectations that they had coming in for him. But there was a lot working against him, again, with the coaching, with the level of competition he got. You could not pick a worse time for when Wyatt got hurt. If you go back and look, I think they had to play the Commanders, the Giants. There was a lot of top defensive tackles.
They played the Raiders, I think.
That he got thrown into.
And just the injury, too. I'm just going to cut him some slack.
I'm going to tell you this, man. Andrew Berry and his defensive line picks, man.
How about wide receiver picks?
Man, the D-line is, think about the people that get in trouble. Malik McDowell.
Oh,
that was free agent.
Yeah.
That was a free agent, right?
Yeah.
Perrion Winfrey.
Yep.
Not a good draft pick.
Mike Hall Jr. They come in the first year and get in trouble. Then the guys that can't even get on the field, the Tommy Togiai guys can't get on the field. The Siaki Ikas can't get on the field.
Yep.
The guy, Jawan Briggs.
Astonishing he's still here.
He's whiffing.
It's astonishing.
Briggs actually had a couple nice plays in that Week 17 game. I know it's Week 17, Week 18, but he at least
Week
showed
17,
a little something.
The Week 17 game.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But again, these are the developmental guys. You can't pick a guy in the 6th round and then kill him for not.
I know,
being
but in fairness, we're doing apples to apples here because every other draft class that was graded ahead of the Browns also had 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
Yeah, but remember, at this point last year where we're talking about, well, there's no spots on the 53. The Browns have loaded 53, and they can't take all these guys. They're not going to be able to fit them on the 53 because there's only 2 or 3 spots
Life
open.
comes at you fast.
So I know, but I'm saying we can't come back now and say, well, the absolute disaster when a year ago we're saying there's only 2 or 3 spots available. A lot of now, if another year from now we go back and look at this list and none of these guys have made an impact, that's
well.
really
Here's the
bad.
thing: he can't be anywhere near this. He's got to be upper 10.
Well, especially
next year to
you've
keep
got
his job.
2 picks in the top 33.
Well, exactly.
Can
That's
I
what I'm
give you
saying. Like
guys-
last year, they had no draft capital, in
Right.
part because of a deal he made.
Where
so he bears some of the responsibility for that.
Where was Mike Hall drafted? Like
50?
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say this: the team that ranked number 1 in these rankings,
Who was number 1?
the Washington Commanders, who had the number 2 pick in last year's draft,
Yeah.
which is where the Browns are currently sitting this year. If
And
you're
they
looking
hit
to
on all
spin
their
it-
picks, or not all of them, but they
No,
had some hits.
Look at this draft class: Daniels in the first round.
Yep.
Jerzon Newton, who had 11 starts at defensive tackle. Mike Sanistril, who started 16 games at nickelback. Ben Sinnott, the tight end, who was their backup tight end. They got a offensive tackle named Brandon Coleman, who started 12 games. Luke McCarthy played in all 17 games at receiver.
Wow.
And their 7th-round pick appeared in 17 games, 2 starts, but had 6 sacks. So,
Bro,
there you go.
that is
Wow. 7th
But
round pick had 6
that's
sacks.
That's your spin zone on how to get excited for
Yeah.
next year. Is if you have a draft class like that, and they had the number 2 pick, the Browns
But-
have the pick this
you
year.
got to
But-
get it
you can
right,
see the
man.
path.
But the people that were there in Washington got fired, and then these new picks were taken by new people.
Yeah.
Gee, I'm trying to find something to feel good about, okay? I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just trying to feel good about something in life.
Listen, this ain't gonna be that year. I told people, y'all can't get mad at me. G is drinking the Kool-Aid, 4,500. You're not getting me. No, this is bad. Matter of fact, he got a D- on this, and we can still keep talking. How y'all like that DTR pick right now? That don't look like it's hitting. You had Jed Wills, top 10. That's bust. You had Greg Newsome. Is he a first-round corner? That looks crazy. Martin Emerson was the thing that was saving you, and he took a major step back. Zach Zinter didn't play. Like we're not to talk about the David Bells of the world or the Anthony Schwartzes of the world. Like I'm struggling to find regular guys that are balling.
Here's what really bothers me about myself. I knew of Anthony Schwartz. I knew what he was in college. I knew he had world-class speed. When they draft these guys and Thrash and all, Bell, I'm like, hey, Bell's Big Ten receiver of the year, man.
Yeah.
This dude, and it's because I've given gravitas to people that get a paycheck for assessing this talent. And then I'm like, yeah, but David Bell wasn't that good. And then Anthony Schwartz, I got all excited about him. I was telling everybody, we need a burner. Somebody's got to take the top off defense. He's our guy. He couldn't catch a cold. And then I'm like, man, they missed again. And then with Thrash, I looked at, hey, man, I like this guy's resume. And I also make the mistake of looking at the highlight reel that they show.
Yeah.
So they poured through 5,000 plays to get the 18 that they're going to show you on the highlight reel. And I'm like, this dude can separate.
Man, this guy's running away from
This
people.
dude can catch.
Man,
and I talked myself into
No.
the fact that they know what they're doing and they got the right guy. And then I see Puka Nacua come out here and light the league on fire. Took a match, napalm the whole league. And we got Thrash, and we got Schwartz, and we got Bell.
Yep.
The Browns, I'm going to let you know right now, this is not refutable. The Cleveland Browns have never developed a wide receiver in their life. Where's the number 1 receiver?
Well, isn't Paul Warfield count?
Yes, he counts.
Webster Slaughter.
But you got to go back to the.
But you got to go back to the black and white era.
Yeah, you do.
Webster Slaughter was the 80s.
Webster was a first-round pick.
I tried to put
out of San Diego State, I think.
I tried to put together a top 5 receiving class in a Browns video.
Good luck.
And it was a bunch of guys that looked like the Three Stooges, the old black and white. Max Speed.
First of all, you know when your leading receiver guy, the best pass catcher you ever had is Ozzie Newsome.
And he's a tight end.
And he's a tight end. That's kind
Gary Barnidge had a great year one year. Gary Barnidge had a top 10 year.
I know he did.
For your Cleveland Browns.
Didn't he get like 1 million concussions though?
Yeah, and just was like, I'm done. Like this is the problem, man. This is what makes people very skeptical about them just going and handing that slip at the podium. Jason,
Yeah, you should be skeptical.
it's confusing. I don't know.
Every draft pick this year, you have every right to go,
Gee, let me ask you this, and take 264 full here. Let's just go through. We'll put a bow on this with this. Mike Hall Jr. If the scale is bona fide Pro Bowl level starter, regular starter, rotation guy, or never going to be a quality player. Let's go through the 6 guys. Where do you think Mike Hall falls?
I think he is a legitimate bona fide starter.
He's a starter.
And I think there is a world where he becomes a Pro Bowler.
Totally agree on that. Zinter.
Hold
on, Ant.
I feel Zinter he's a swing guy. He'll play center.
Best case
guard.
scenario, or what's most likely, or
Yeah, what's most likely for him? I think he could be a regular
he
starter.
could start. Like guard,
You ain't got to be that good at guard.
that's exactly it. There's a lot less responsibility
You're
for guard
right.
than there is at tackle.
Yeah,
And
right.
I think he can be a
a
legitimate starter. Thrash? No.
Special teams.
Special teams.
Special teams at best.
Watson.
Special teams.
Special teams.
Harden.
Dillards.
Kaufman's.
Wait, did you just say Dillards?
He didn't even say Neiman Marcus. Like no. That's like.
So if it was a fast food restaurant, where would he slot in? Would he be like Cane's?
I'll give him Chipotle.
Long John Silver's.
And
said
Juwan
Dillard's.
Briggs.
Starbucks.
Practice squad.
I think Briggs can play. I'm actually going to be honest on that one.
No, I don't mean to be.
No disrespect to all these guys. It's very hard to make the NFL. I don't want to feel like I'm disparaging nobody's name.
That's exactly.
Because
No,
they got
these
people.
guys
watching.
are great.
We're just having fun.
It takes you got to be
To even
thousands
get drafted.
Like these dudes are exponentially better than I was ever was at everything.
You have to be an unbelievable athlete.
You're right about that.
But
I'm just having fun.
on the
I don't mean
scale of
But we're comparing them to other great athletes.
when you say Hall of Fame, like I'm thinking of Warren Saps and John Randalls and Aaron Donalds and guys.
None of
like,
these guys are going to be mistaken for that.
No. So that's the problem, man. And so I wouldn't have a problem. That's why I'm so against trading down, because them trading down gives them a smaller percentage chance of these guys being good, even if it's in the top 10.
Gives them more darts, though. Gee, they got more darts.
They just
But it's
spread
still
them
a dark
around.
room.
It's dark
You're
as
still
hell in
throwing
there.
them blindfolded.
No flashlight. and look, I'd rather Kevin Stefanski. Like I would rather Kevin Stefanski have 1,000% control over the quarterback. If Kevin Stefanski comes in and says, "Hey, Andrew Berry, you ain't won Executive of the Year. I won Coach of the Year twice. I trump you on this one. If I find a quarterback that I like, I don't care if y'all don't like him. I'm drafting him."
They need to lean heavily on Kevin's suggestion for the next quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And back to the earlier point, what if they come back and say Dylan Gabriel, Jackson Dart? That's who we like the best.
I don't care. Draft him.
That's who we like the best.
Draft him.
So that's why I'm saying I don't think it's a slam dunk that you have to take him at 2. I mean, if they take Dylan Gabriel at 2,
there'll be a riot.
But that's why But
That's wild.
But I'm just throwing a name out.
No,
I
right.
don't think they're going to take Dylan. But I'm just saying, why does it have to be Cam or Shador? What if there's another quarterback that they look at and say, I know no one else is talking about
Well,
him.
they should
He gotta
take the
stand
guy
on
they
it.
love.
You got to stand on
And
it.
again, and I remember talking to Cavs when I was covering the NBA, who said, I don't care what Chad Ford, that's why I keep saying, I'm paying you. What do you think?
Right.
It doesn't matter what the magazine says.
Remember-
What do you think?
Remember this. You talk about the Cavs. Remember the year after LeBron and them left, and the Cavs got the number 1 pick, and there was no consistent. People don't remember. It was this close between Derek Williams and Kyrie
100%.
Irving.
There were people within the Cavs who wanted Derek Williams and Brandon Knight at 1 and 4.
because Kyrie Irving had played like 9 games.
Nine games at Duke.
Nobody saw him.
Yeah.
And as soon as they started playing, it was like, oh, okay.
Well, you know what?
I know why they picked you now. Good job.
When you go back, I laugh too, because you're right, that was a question, but that's as laughable to me as the question, and this was the universal question. It was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Manning, when Peyton Manning came out of the draft, or Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
Ryan Leaf.
They did a commercial.
He was real good, though. I saw Ryan Leaf was good, man.
I know, but now, in retrospect, that whole debate was silly, just like the Kyrie Irving debate was silly. Even though it was 9 games at Duke, you could watch that kid's high school tape and say, "Oh my God!"
It's something. It's luck. There's
No
luck
player
involved
had
in
ever
this.
been drafted coming off a season where he played less Number 1 overall. Then the Cavs taking Kyrie off.
Right.
Game.
9 games. And it was like.
Well, I mean, the kids that go right from high school, but,
They still played more games the year before.
Right. Like
Body
talking
of work,
about the previous
body
season.
of work previous
Yeah.
season.
Well, hold on. Darius Garland played like 5 games too one year, didn't he?
went
Yeah, but
fifth.
he was drafted.
But he was
what?
5th. But when they drafted Garland, I'm like, who is this dude? Like he had played like 5 games or something because of injuries. But here's what I say: if they like Dylan Gabriel, and this may sound crazy, and they think he's the best quarterback, I'll take him at 2.
Well, it's easy to
Lean
say.
into it.
I mean, it's easy to say now. What if the Cavs had taken Giannis at 1? Everyone would have been fired the day after, but it was the right pick.
It was the right
Yeah.
move.
What if the Browns took Lamar Jackson at 1?
Right, or
Like it was crazy at the time, but in
Would've been
hindsight,
nuts.
would it have been that crazy?
You should have took Patrick Mahomes over Myles Garrett.
Absolutely.
If they love Dylan Gabriel or Will Howard or Jackson Dart or whoever,
Take them.
either take him at 2 or if you trade back, use the extra ammunition to go back up and get it.
Yeah, I like that too.
Right.
There
I
are
like
other
that too.
ways without having to force them into that hole. At
I
2,
see what you. I like what you did. I like that. If the Browns really want to get aggressive, and they say, well, listen, we're gonna get one of these blue chip guys. If it's Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, we're gonna trade this pick, but we ain't gonna trade back too far. Then we're going to take them picks and them little extra picks, or maybe it's a 2 and whatever we got, and move back into the first round and draft a quarterback. I ain't got no problem with that.
Gee, if the Browns are going to draft a quarterback and it's not at 2, it better not be at 33.
No.
Find a way to get into the first round because you get that 5th year of extra control.
Right,
on the 5th year
right.
option.
That's right.
Yep.
You do not take a quarterback at 33. If you trade up to 32, like the Ravens did with Lamar,
Well, the clock
be
is
it.
already a year in when you do that.
Say it again.
The clock is already a year in when you take one at 33.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yep.
Which is why even if it's moving up 2-3 spots,
Yep.
I'm all for the Browns leaving with 2 first-round picks,
And that
as
you could
opposed to
do.
waiting for 33.
Well, and that is a very likely scenario, and here's why. The teams that are picking 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32, they don't need a quarterback.
Nope.
They've got
Jalen
their
Hurts,
Quarterback.
Mahomes,
Yes.
Allen, Jaden Daniels.
Those
4 teams ain't drafting a quarterback.
So, but what would all of them love to have more than anything? A Hall of Fame pass rusher.
Yep.
Every one of them. They're going to be better with a Hall of Fame pass rusher. So make a move with the bottom 6 and take your quarterback there.
I wouldn't mind doing it, and
Are you advocating trading from 2 to 31?
No, what I'm advocating doing is trading Myles Garrett and getting picks.
Oh. All right. I thought you were trying to go.
No.
from 2 to 30. It's like,
You take.
Oh my God
you're,
in heaven.
You're taking Abdul Carter at number 2, and you are trading Myles Garrett to one of the best 6 teams in the NFL.
See, I don't love that. I still think you trade him to a team in the middle. You don't have to trade him to a team contending for a Super Bowl. There's other teams who think adding Myles Garrett makes them into that group, and it may not.
But
I'd
it
rather
also,
trade him into the
if
middle.
you're Philly, who could use a pass rusher,
Yeah.
they're going to lose some. If you're Kansas City, if you're Baltimore, this is like to Cynthia's point. This is number 3 on the players' value on the value added chart. This is number 3 in the league. So if and everybody would love to have one.
Yeah.
Even the teams that have one would die to have 2.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of cap implications with Miles
that's
I know
enough.
that's what I think is the biggest hurdle to them trading him is that.
which is why I think they have to wait till the new year.
Yeah, and
Probably.
and that kind of sucks because it'll be hanging over your head. But I don't think it's tenable. I don't think you could do it before the draft because the money they'd have to do too many gymnastics. So that's why I think that they're playing we're not trading him and we're going to wait it out. But yeah,
In the NFL, can you do? Yeah, I don't think you can. You can't do a trade with and name a player to be named later.
No.
I don't think you can.
Not-
no, baseball,
not
you can't.
like this.
Wouldn't it be great if they did that and the player to be named later and it was agreed upon already was Myles Garrett, and then after the new year ends, they said, "Oh, we've decided it's going to be Myles Garrett."
so let me.
Sneaky.
Is there any chance in the world that there is the Browns stay at number 2, and the player that they pick is not Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, or Abdul Carter?
No.
I don't see.
I don't
how.
think. I don't
If
see.
there,
it.
if there's no way.
I mean, those 4 are pretty much universally in the top 2 of everyone's mock.
there's
It
no.
would break the internet if
There
it
was
did.
no chance that somebody he says at
The only other name, I've seen, or the only 2 names I've seen in that realm, and Cynthia actually had one in hers, is somehow either Mason Graham, the defensive tackle, or Will Campbell, the offensive tackle.
No,
It's
they're
the
not-
only other options that I've even seen that high in the draft. I can't imagine.
What if they took? Think about this. What if they? because I went back and looked at it. Baker Mayfield, there was no consensus on Baker.
No, there was
No,
not.
there was
Baker was going anywhere from number 1 to 25. And when they drafted Baker Mayfield, people was like, what? I don't know if they would do it, but is there a world where somebody says, well, Jackson Dart has just leapfrogged everybody? They took Jackson Dart.
Yeah, there is a world, and here's how. You guys have said if they fall in love with the quarterback, they should take it. Whoever it is, they should take him.
Yeah.
And so the gamble that they're taking if they don't, we need a quarterback. We don't love Shedeur. We don't love Cam. The guy we love is Will Howard or Jackson Dart. And we're not sure that he would be available anywhere else. We think he could go as high as 3. So we're going to take him. And we're going to lean into it, and maybe it works out. Now, if it doesn't, you're definitely in line for a paycheck, and it's not going to be with an NFL team.
Yeah,
you're in the unemployment line.
If you miss one, but I would have. Look, I said it earlier. I'm gonna be consistent. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Hey, you said you put your stamp of approval on it.
I know, but what does that really carry? What weight does the Brown stamp of approval really carry?
It has to. That's they're in the role.
I know it's all we have,
That's
but
it.
as a fan, you're going to try to sell me that in the same manner that you tried to tell me Anthony Schwartz was going to be a game-changing receiver, David Bell was going to be a great possession receiver, that all of these guys that have missed in this regime, you're going to try to tell me now that a guy that was 13th or 19th or 21st on draft
fine.
boards.
So you don't believe him. So what? You're still going to buy tickets?
I'm stuck with it.
You're still going to go.
I am stuck.
That's why you can't worry about what the fans say.
If they hit though, Jay, that saves their job. That saves their dome, their
It's a walk-off home run in the ninth inning.
Because then you would get instant credibility because they would say, who the hell in their right mind would walk up there and pick Jackson Dart, but this guy is amazing. It'll save everything. And at that point,
You better be right.
at that point, nobody would care that Myles Garrett got traded.